All right. So what I wanted to say is that I wrote this. You can see my screen, right? Yes. I wrote this message, which is that every year there will be 2 concerts, right? Like we do every year. We have done every year so far. And so this year's show will be in Widenha, in the pavilion in Widenha with Ilya.
Yeah, this one. Yeah, okay.
And it would be on February 25. But because we only have 3 hours for performances, we need to open a little competition here. So basically, for all the engineers, you guys will work like in the montage and everything, and like all the time. And I think you have already done this with Ilya outside of the course, or some of you. But anyways, and for anybody who wants to perform, you need to send us a record of like a video with the phone, like nothing fancy, of a rehearsal of your performance. I mean, in this case, it's not so important because I don't know if you or Andre want to perform, but if you want to perform in any form, you either have to join a project that will play or submit a video like with your rehearsal of your performance. And if you're just a DJ, it can be just like a video of you DJing. It doesn't matter. And then there will be a voting in between the teachers to choose like the lineup that will go to the show, because we have a limitation on time. That's all. That's why. Okay, man. So I'm really happy that let me just leave open. I need to open something here. I need to open a project just quickly that I need to use. It's kind of not the same that we've been working on, because I need to demonstrate something that I don't have there, and I'm gonna use it with my holiday. Here it is. Let me open, I guess, Blood. Yeah, what I was recording yesterday, man. Yeah, it was so good. I recorded a double bass yesterday. Sorry, echo. Contrabass here. Okay, so I'm really happy that this aligned so well. Today is the last lecture of anything connected to editing at all in the whole course, and I'm really happy that it ended like in December, before we make the Opus and not the Opus, the Canicula, and so I think it's a good alignment. And so every lecture, like usual, every slide starts with everything that we have discussed so far. So what we're going to talk today about is, let me just start here, right? We're going to talk about, well, we're still in the pre-mixing stage. We're going to recall the assignments that we have to develop until, I have like a list because I added 2 new assignments for next year. So we're going to just like look at that. And we are going to describe the considerations that need to be taken into account when comping and arranging before initiating the mix process. So, you have everything clean. And now there is like a last conversation, which is vocal comping, like choosing vocal takes, and arrangement in general as a part of the mixing, like musical arrangement, as a part of the mixing process. And experiment a little bit with a session. So I want to move this to the beginning, I guess like here. It's okay. And well, like as usual, this is the summary of the course that we have until now, and it will continue updating every week. This is kind of what we're gonna talk about today, and I put it here, like whatever style of music you're working in, if any or part of your most recordings are coming from live performance, there's gonna be a lot of takes, and we need to choose those takes. So what does it mean to choose takes and comping them, and there is a whole second conversation which is about conflicting notes in the arrangement and how it's better maybe to remove some things from the arrangement rather than to leave it there, because there will be conflict anyway, since it's kind of like, how are you going to mix that kind of question, you will see. And then there is a conversation about boring arrangements and how much repetition there usually is and stuff, and what this can mean in terms of the attention and the entertainment of your song and stuff like that. So we're going to talk about comping, arrangement, and close all the editing conversations and tuning and everything. And that's the flow of the book. That's how the book flows, and I'm really happy to follow it. So at the moment, there is the deep editing 1. So you need to edit song 1. And you will see, last night I worked on this, and don't worry about, I understand that you don't have Pro Tools and there has been these delays. It's all cool, but just don't worry about it. The important thing is that we do the work. So right now we have this. We have deep editing 1. So that's like this like whole bunch of tracks that you need to put together, and that I mean nowadays I guess like all of the deadlines are January 16, how it looks right now. Then there is mixing prep 1, so after you edit everything, while you're editing everything, you're gonna find a problem. You're gonna have to write me in the middle of the night, Leo, I'm editing this shit and I want it to be like this because I want you to guys sit down and start working, and then realize a problem, contact your client, and then your client sends you some other shit. Like that's exactly how I want it to be. So I will not fix it until you write me like, fuck, I'm stuck. Like, please send me this stuff because I'm there is a problem here. So after that, you need to prepare your mix and send me like your schablon and stuff, and then you need to mix that song, of course. So after you did everything, you need to mix exactly that song in particular. I put here a presentation from last year from our mixing course, which is just like, if you want to follow my, my steps on how to mix. We already discussed this, but it's, if you want to follow this, you can, know, and if you want me to talk about it, I can, but that's a presentation I already gave you. So yeah, it's just like the whole strategy of top down versus bottom up, and then submit a mix. And then there is another one. So this one is due on January 18. Remember that the studio is open from the 1st of January. So you can go to DTH on January 2nd, whatever, if you want, like, it doesn't matter. So, and then there is a second mix down, which is scheduled for January 25. And in here, I put you there like a folder with all the multi-tracks, the same folder that I had last year, but I've been adding more and more stuff. So you see now there is like the Merely album is there. There is a whole bunch of shit. And so the mix down 2, you have to choose which song you want to do. So you have all those songs, and then you want to say like, I want to mix, like you see kind of like it says the genre there. Like, I want to mix this time, I want to mix minimal techno. So go ahead and mix minimal techno, like, and deliver it. So, and I put you there the presentation as well, the same. So that's what we got right now. Deep editing 1, then do the mixing prep to this thing that you edited, then mix that song, and then mix a new song. And so, and actually across the year, even when we're looking at the post-production for film part, I will be keep adding their mixing tracks, just like mix this, mix this.
This works, it's all for this semester, yeah? So no exams, no, so
It's
those
all,
tasks, it's exam.
Yeah, exactly. That's how it is. And look, I mean, again, because I don't know, maybe I'm making a mistake on approaching to this like that, but I mean, you will have until the end of the year. It's kind of like a whole year to do this whole thing. So I will keep adding stuff, and in the end, I'm gonna look at everything like, oh look, there were 20 assignments. Okay, that's gonna be like 100 divided by 20. So all of them have the same weight. I changed my approach a little bit on how I want to do it. And the last thing I want to say is that, yeah, we will move then on to talking about post-production for film in the towards the second semester. But I will continue adding like mixing tracks, so we continue mixing all the time and stuff. Okay, anyways, let's move on.
It's just the question to understand the timing and
sure.
all the other classes,
How is the workload? It's too much or it's okay? Do you have too many projects or how does it work?
It's okay.
It's too slow?
No, it's not too slow. It's okay. It may be too fast for the flow that we took from the last year, but
of course.
It's okay for like the educational program.
Great, amazing. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, look, one of the things that I'm really happy about exploring this this work by Mike Senior is like, it's really interesting, bro. I promise you, very fucking interesting. Like, all the principles that I reach on my own, he is discussing them here. Like, so it is an indication that these are universal principles that are worth having a conversation about. It's really interesting. Like, for example, one of the conclusions that I reach is that I always record minimum 3 takes of everything. Like, and I realize that the easiest way for me to work, because I have so much shit to do and so many things happening at the same time, the easiest way for me to do is that the moment of tracking, it's a little bit a moment when I can do a couple of parallel tasks. This is not ideal, I don't recommend this to. I don't think this is good, but it's just like how I can manage my life, running the bachelors and making the soundtrack and being a father and being an engineer. So when I'm tracking, I kind of like, I'm gonna be honest, and it's not good. I'm not paying 100% attention to what's happening, and that's not how it should be at all.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of do it like, okay, I tell to the musician, please record 3 takes. And while the musician is recording 3 takes, I'm sort of like half paying attention, half doing something else. And when the musician finishes those 3 takes, we sit down together and we comp it right away.
Mm-hmm.
And that helps me just to be productive. But I guess that it's more ideal just to be paying attention at the moment. But when you read the book of of Mike Senior, he's going to suggest something very similar to that. So I was like, oh, cool. Like, it seems like what I reach naturally, it's something that another engineer in England also reached naturally. So whatever. That's what we're going to find out
I think
today.
I kind of have kind of related question for this, but I'll ask it a bit later.
Okay.
I think it's more like engineer approach to recordings, because like if you pay attention for the takes that musicians actually play, it's more like producer approach, because you can say like maybe you can change something here. It's just the good example was yesterday we were recording like drums, and Vanya from the studio, like he in the process of recording, like he control musical stuff of the recording. So
I don't like to do this.
Right after take, like maybe we can change this part a bit and this part a bit. Let's try another take. Yeah, it will be nice for comping later. But what you say, it's more like engineer approach. You give the job of musicians to musicians, and then let's comp it like mechanically.
You're saying a good point there, and look, I mean, I don't like, sometimes I feel that engineers are talking, I'm not talking about Vanya here, but I mean, sometimes I feel that engineers are talking more from a point of view of lack of self-confidence, and that they just want to feel authority, you know. And they're just saying any comment that comes to their head because they feel that they have to do that in that moment. And the comment is really not even connected with the song in the end. It's kind of like, you're not inside the arrangement. You don't know what happened there. You don't know what those decisions were made. That's one point of view. I mean, basically, the first thing I'm trying to say is that when I arrived to Russia, I realized that everybody was always saying to the musician what to do when they were in my sessions. Like when Ilya was coming to my session, or Anton, and then they were like, why don't you play this? And I was like, first, why are you talking in my session? Like, first, like, shut up, because it's my session. It's not yours, so don't tell to the musician what to do. And secondly, you just landed in a parachute into this song, and you have no idea what the fuck is happening, and you're just saying your opinion there, so you can sound important or an authority. And it's better.
Yesterday was not this story, because there were lack of like producer part, because the guys were not so like how to say, I forgot the word in all the languages. Not prepared, the initiative. For all of this, let's just record. It's nice, let's go. I think it's not how recordings of the songs should be. So the Vanya did a good notes for the drum.
No, let me organize my thoughts here.
I understand what you say.
What you mean. You see what I mean. And anyways, for the record, let me just like kind of reorchestrate this. Like, okay, let's talk about case A. So case A is musicians are so not knowing what to do that they really need your help, a little push there, and you need to talk your musical opinion, for sure. Case B, the one I said, it's like everybody's, maybe it's not perfect, maybe they didn't thought the arrangements so carefully, but it's kind of like, imagine that you go to the doctor because you have a heart problem. And because you're fat. I mean, imagine you go to the doctor because you have a heart problem because you eat too much, and then the doctor tells you, okay, before we put you in the operating room, do some squats, please, right now, so you become cleaner. It's like, this thing is gonna take 10 years, man. Like, what the fuck? So,
Yeah.
so that
It depends on the confidence of the musicians and of the producers, maybe, of the track.
And then I want to share with you the third case. The third case is where I kind of stand now. It's a little bit of a motherfucker case, and it's kind of like, you're not paying me for this. So whatever, it's your problem that your song will suck, you know, because you're not paying me for this. And my musical knowledge, its value costs some money. So if you want me to think about your arrangement, let's make a session for thinking about your arrangement. If you want to record drums, let's make a session to record drums. And I mean, I'm in a moment when I'm kind of there. For example, I'm gonna have a client next week who is a producer. He's a student from Wishka that he just wants to go to record drums, and he's the producer, and it's not me. And that day, for example, I'm gonna take a super second step on terms of all the musical. In the past, I would be super actively saying everything and projecting everything, and why don't we do this, let's try this. And in this moment, it's like, look, there is a budget. The producer budget is going to him, not to me. I'm the engineer, so I'm just going to put everything right, make it sound great, and just take a step back and chill and read my Kindle, you know, whatever. Like, because I'm getting paid for being an engineer only. With the band Hoodie, that it's a band that I'm working on right now, we spent 10 sessions of production, and we thought about every note, every hit. And then when we went to the studio, I was saying zero things about musical performance because all those decisions were done before. But anyways, that's clear. Okay, so let's see a little bit of Mike Senior and what he's talking about, what we're discussing right now. So comping and musical arrangement, these are super important, of course, and whatever of the budget. And he's saying this a lot, like, however, every time I see small projects, the engineers kind of don't pay attention to how important this is. If you're comping and your arrangements are good, then of course the mix is a lot of less hard work. But if they're not, you can be left with an underwhelming record. It doesn't matter how hard you try to fix this or try to mix it amazing, or how much are your skills, you know, man. And this is so fucking true. Like, I remember something that Anton Kondakov is a guy that I speak to you little about, but Anton Kondakov is the founder of DTH. He is the person who founded DTH. He's the person who invited Ilya to participate in DTH. But then eventually he ended up outside of his own project. It was like a Steve Jobs kind of thing. But the difference is that Anton didn't return to make the company huge like Steve Jobs. He just disappeared.
I think it's huge in Russia because like a lot of my, not a lot, but a couple of my friends that I known before my musical path, known the DTH, the Moscow. It kind of DTH have some special place in the rock and all this. Of course. Yeah. So
no, and we know this, and we feel very proud of this. I mean, sometimes Ilya and I discuss this like in the night, you know. And for me, man, because I landed here when this place already existed, and it is obvious. And I don't mean to be like arrogant or self-aggrandizing. I mean, you can ask Ilya this, and he will tell it to you. It is obvious that, just like this company survived because of Ilya, it survived because of me. I mean, it was both of us who kept that thing going. And sometimes, you know, I go to sleep and I feel like, again, about this last 5 minutes of life that I was telling you, you know, like when that moment comes, you know, I would be like, man, I made DTH, you know, like, and it's one of my realities of my gifts to the world with Ilya. I mean, without Ilya or without me, it would have never happened. And without Anton too. But it's just like Anton faded away kind of like 7 years ago, so it's already like our story, kind of like he
and yeah, by the way, if I'm add too much comments, just shut me up, because I like to, you know, discuss the small things.
I love these discussions too. And so I was talking to you about Anton, and Anton one time told me something that I think is so true. He said, you know, when you're mixing well, when you start hearing that the band sucks. You know, it's like you're mixing well when you made everything so clean that you reveal that the arrangement is a piece of shit. Kind of. I mean, he's talking about bad bands and bad projects, you know, and he was so right. Like, I mean, when you mix badly, those problems in the arrangements are kind of like hidden. But when you mix great, you open space for so much everything that the bad arrangement will sound worst. That's kind of what I mean. Like, it doesn't matter if the song is badly arranged. The mix is gonna sound terrible, and that means that you're doing a great job because you're showing how bad the arrangement was. So it's all about the arrangement, really, and the sources.
It's so disgusting that if you work better in many of situations, your result will be worse.
Yeah. And so I mean, you see, that's exactly what Mike Senior also concluded. Like, it doesn't matter how great your mixer, you know, it will sound like shit, regardless of your mixing skills, because the arrangement was bad. This is like an idea from a guy called Tony Platt. He's an engineer. I think there is too much dependence on the final mix. I mean, people are thinking too much about, like, oh yeah, let's whatever. We will get to a stage where everything will become perfect later. You see what I mean? Like, and it's like, no, bro. Like, everything has to be perfect from the beginning. Like, if not, it will never be perfect. And I don't think that there is enough preparation that goes into this process. The mix should begin the moment you start recording by moving things around, balancing, blending, and creating sounds. So. When you're recording, you're creating a coherent piece of work rather than recording a whole series of independent events and then putting them together, obviously. So, about comping, and we're going to see how I do this, and I'm going to give you a good recommendation of how I do this. It's a really important part of the process. So, comping involves recording, giving a musical part. Well, I mean, basically, you're trying to just grab, like, all the performance and try to put it together. It's very time-consuming, of course. And of course, if you can get a singer to deliver you perfect takes, that's better, but that's very rare. So I mean, you're gonna have to, of course, go through a whole bunch of material. Please remind me something, bro, because I'm teaching so much that I forget. Have we discussed this like method that I have of like yellow, green, and red? Like, I'm talking about comping.
Yeah.
So we discussed
a couple of lectures ago.
Yeah, we discussed already comping of vocals. Great. So this is more time consuming. This is of course more time consuming than recording somebody, but whatever. Very few people will give you these great performances. And in order to create the material, you're gonna have to record a whole bunch of takes, you know, and then choose between them. That's obviously, and or you can. I mean, basically, when you have a recording. Sorry, now I understand what I'm trying to say. When you have a recording, in order to create a great material for you to comp later. You have two options, and I'll tell you which one I like the most. Option one is to record a numerous amount of takes from beginning to end. That's what he means by top to tail. And then edit in between them during the recording session. Or to focus on a single moment, like a million times. We recorded the single moment well, let's move to the next one. Recorded the next single moment well, let's move to the next one. I really like more. Actually, before I tell you which one I like more, which one do you like more?
It depends on the of the musician. If he is professional enough, or she, sorry, it's better top to tail.
Yeah, sure.
The yesterday's recording, for example, Vanya Trofimov was the drummer. So
great.
He's like great drummer. Great. I just enjoy every session, and like he was a drummer for not all the bands in the concert and propaganda, and only one band was without him.
Yeah, the band of.
And the drums was not mic'd.
Yeah.
Because I was alone and there's no time for this. And he played perfectly. The sound, everything was mic'd. No. Except of drums. He played perfectly mixed drums in the like I listened to. I just said, man, just play loud because you are not mic'd.
Yeah, and it was perfect.
Yeah.
No, Vanya.
It wasn't perfect because like when kick is not mic'd, you know, in the clubs you don't have the subs and this punch, but. In the way of levels of the sound, it was perfect.
Yeah.
So and then yesterday in the recording, like it was like from 3 to 5 top to tail takes for 2 songs.
Yeah.
He just did it with different with these notes from Vanya in the production side,
Yeah.
and there was 1 or 2 mistake, not very critical for take. For every take, so I can comp like those recordings very easily.
Yep.
So that and the point that it really depends on the musician, because if musicians can't handle the top to tail without mistakes, so it's maybe better to do it by phrases.
No, that's correct. You're super right in what you're saying. Now, I want to recommend you something. What do this as a привычка. You know, every time you start a recording, just ask for a top to tail take, the first one, or maybe the first 2.
Yeah, sure. I can't understand bad or good musicians if
yeah. First for you to understand, and second so the musician can warm up, and thirdly also it's really useful just to see your gain stage across the song, like especially when you're recording vocalist, and you will see like, ah, shit, there is this quiet part, there is this loud part, like in here he's gonna clip, so then you're prepared for the gain staging problems that you're gonna get later. So yeah, we have these 2 options. Like I usually go like singer, sing me the whole thing, and then we will focus by track depending on you. Yeah, exactly like that. And the same conclusion is reached by Mike Senior. It's like neither of these extremes are gonna work in particular, so you need to combine both basically. And in most instances, deal with the production of one musical section at the time and record a fixed number of longer sections later. So we are both agree. You see, and this is amazing. Like I arrived to that exact same number after so many years, you know. And look at what he says. Like I'd say that 3 takes per section should be considered a minimum if you're going to bother comping at all. And if you're looking for a professional grade level, lead vocal comping or whatever, guitars or bass, whatever, you should do 5 or 8. It depends on the. Also, there is one super important element, bro, that it's like I reach on my own to this conclusion. Let me actually put it here and write it on my own words. And delete this because it's not his quote, it's mine. Look, here is the point. You need to administer either the vocalist's energy or the new strings / skins of your instrument. People tend to stay for 3 hours in one little piece of music and then proceed to the next. This means that you have fresh singer or fresh strings / skins on that little piece of music, and then the rest is done with a tired singer or instrument. You need to administer either the vocalist energy or the new strings skins of your instrument across the recording session. Because I mean, you see what I mean, right? You have new strings, then you play like, let's play this part for 3 hours, and then let's go to the rest of the song, and then you don't have new strings anymore.
And everybody's tired already. And
so one of the things I really recommend everybody, let me just write here this, and this, bro, it's like, it has triple reasons for me to tell you this, because of the former, and due to a psychological let's say quirk of the mind. If you have to record, let's say 4 songs, I recommend to start the session with a first take of each one of the songs, and then move on to repeat. To repeat stuff. This is for the psychological reason that I mean. It's like people start getting stressed when they look at the clock and they're like, fuck, we have 4 songs and we have only done 1, and there is only 2 hours, like if you grab and just make one take of everything, of the whole 4 songs, and then you go back to see things in detail, at least people start looking at the clock and think, well, whatever, if the session ends in 1 hour, at least we have one take of this, and that makes a huge difference. So I really, really, really always do this. It's like, set up everything, we're ready, how many songs we have? These. Okay, let's play all the songs once. And the musicians, many times they tell you, no, I want to focus on the first song. And then you say what I said before, listen, we need to administer the strings, administer the skins. I want the whole thing to have fresh skins and fresh everything. So at least I want one take with everything new, and then we will look it into consideration. And also what I told you about the gain staging is super important. Like you will see across your recording, like which moments you need to change, blah, blah. So, okay, I'm repeating myself, so let's move on. But that's cool that we discussed it. Record the filter another until you reach your predetermined limit. So, okay, you choose what number you have, and then when you reach that point, your performance, I mean, of course, after you did a couple of takes, your performer will already be warm up, and then you can go and have a listen and then repeat things, and that's going to be really great. The freshness of the first take. Now, however, there is this thing about the first take, and this is really true, man. Like the freshness of the first take sometimes brings some really magical things that should be there. So, I mean, the first takes sometimes are really the best. It happens, and you have to be ready for that to happen, and never just delete the first take. Actually, never delete any takes. That's kind of my position, but there is two approaches there. You know, about now I'm talking about recording and deleting something that it sucks right away. I mean, that's maybe good, because sometimes I have like all these 10 million takes that are kind of like crap, and then I later have to go through them. That's why my recommendation is to color code them right after the recording happened. It's like the singer recorded, was it a good or a bad? Red, right away, and then I know that I didn't like that take. Or what I definitely recommend you for sure is that as soon as the singer, if you recorded a take, let's say that you were like, okay, I bought a Kindle yesterday, so I'm gonna just be reading on my Kindle while the singer is singing, and then you're not paying attention to the takes, but you heard that the singer was like, fuck, that was great, color that take green. And then you will tell to the singer, bro, listen, or sis, this was the take that you said it was amazing, so let's go and check it out. You know, Fab Dupont, when I say Fab Dupont, you know who I'm talking about, right? Yeah, it's okay. It's
honestly not sure.
Yeah, no worries. It's a producer, and he is the guy who created Pure Mix. So Fab Dupont, there is a whole video about this, about vocal comping from Fab Dupont, and he recommends to not do this with the singer in the room at all. I don't know. I have mixed feelings about this, because I kind of like noticed that maybe that's more like a Hollywood thing, that it's like Shakira is not choosing her own takes kind of thing, maybe. But I realize that the more I include the musician, the better. I don't know what's the truth about this. There are two approaches, you know. I try to involve the musician as much as I can. But anyways, I
think it depends on the, again, professionalism of the engineer. Because if you're so big as this guy, so in most of the cases, musicians or vocalists, they can't understand so clearly as you that this take is shitty or really good. Absolutely. But yeah,
absolutely, that's how it is. Yeah, you're right. So. And then when we are in this like semi like pro level, it's really annoying because yeah. So let's see what else we have next. I discussed my color coding here. So I'm saying, as the recording is happening, be sure to color code or rank your takes depending on how amazing, crappy your performance was. This will save you hours. And I use this color coding. We know this already. So about comping, these are recommendations of different engineers. This is really interesting, and I think it's, again, I think they're living a little bit in a cloud there of like amazing huge projects, but yeah, I mean, anyways, let's see what they say. So what I find interesting about this is that they care more about emotion than about notes, which makes sense. I mean, there is nothing like a Melodyne auto emotion so, or whatever, Yet, exactly. Yet, because I mean, with all this like artificial intelligence stuff that is coming out, like Have you seen Mid Journey? Do you know what?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure. It's actually.
Have you seen the Refusion?
No.
Diffusion, stable diffusion, it's artificial intelligence for generating the images, and someone did Refusion which generate the music by the spectral, by the image, you know, how it's called, spectral.
Yeah, I see it here. I'm looking at it as you're writing. Refusion AI generates music from text using visual sonograms.
Yeah, so first of all, it generated I forgot the second word. Sorry, spectral, not analysis.
Yeah, like spectral, let's say. Well, in here it's saying, like, look, in this article I'm reading here, it's like visual sonograms. So these things, basically.
Yeah. So first of all, the artificial intelligence generates the sonogram, and then Refusion generates the music from this sonogram.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not like perfect yet, but I think it's a most genius approach to the generation of sound, because you can create the sound. It's sonogram, actually. It's visual representation of the sound.
Wow, I'm seeing here. Yeah, I get it. Where is the...
And with the developing of the technology of generating sonograms, you can create like the sounds that do not that you can say it's like recorded by the human or generated by the...
I hope not. I really hope not. Let me see Venezuelan folk. Let me see Venezuelan folk here. I just tried like Venezuelan folk in this thing. There it is. Let's.
You know, I think it's promising in a way of more mechanical work, because for sure the artificial intelligence cannot generate the feelings yet.
Yeah, sure.
But with this technology, you can generate any sound, like mechanically, physically, with some sort of development of this.
Yeah, no, this is gonna be crazy, man. I just wrote Japanese math rock. Let's see what we get there. Let's see what we get there. This is amazing, bro. I was waiting for this, and I'm happy that you showed it to me. So Japanese math rock. Let's see. Let's see what he makes. It's a bit weird.
Yeah, it's weird now, but
yeah, no, it's gonna get a lot better. Like Mid Journey, I mean.
Yeah.
Like Mid Journey started, like, and now it's crazy. Yeah.
I'm already, when I saw it, I already thought about maybe I should like go a bit deeper into all of
we
this.
Should. No, we all should, man. Like,
because it may be the future of.
Of course. By the way, one of the things I like here is where I think that NFTs are gonna be useful. It's like, because NFTs are a proof of ownership of something.
Mm-hmm.
I think that in the end, what's gonna happen is that NFTs are just gonna be a proof of. I mean, it's like, was this uploaded by a human or was created by an artificial intelligence? And so an NFT will help you. You can trace it back to where it began. Like, no, look, like this was uploaded to the internet by Tom York, you know, and I'm sure it was uploaded by Tom York because it started with an NFT. That is Tom York's upload. I think that in the future, near future, all uploads to the internet will be an NFT. All of them. Everything you upload will be an NFT automatically. Just like now you upload something to Google. It's just like when you upload something to Google, you cannot trace back who uploaded it. I mean, you can if you're the CIA or something, but if you're a general user, you cannot see like, oh, where does this go back to? But with an NFT, you can. And so, because the internet of Sirius and Links, of my son, is going to be an internet in which it's impossible to differentiate what a human made and what an artificial intelligence system made.
You know, I'm not so emotional to the NFT and blockchain technology, and I'm so excited about all this stable diffusion or mid-journey stuff.
Yeah.
Because I think that the NFT and blockchain really linked to the, not the commercial, how it's called, to the
financial?
financial part of the world, but this part is controlled by governments of the countries, and those things will not work before the governments decide that those technologies like can can work with the actual financial system of the world. But all the like Midjourney and Refusion and all this artificial intelligence that just generates stuff like that people did before, it's not connected to money. It's connected to money that someone can sell this, but it's not so strictly chained to the financial part of the world.
That's a fair point.
That's why I'm kind of cold to the of this. I think you see this as
I've seen it from the past.
NFT and blockchain.
The reason why I opened this is because I mean I discussed now the use case of NFT as a way of tracking back ownership, and this is something that has no connection with the financial side of it at all. It's just like, for example, let's look at this image here in particular, or let me go here and search something on the web, like in the thing I'm gonna search on the web. I'm gonna go to Google Images, and I'm gonna search like punk guy with mohawk. I don't know how to write it. I wrote it super wrong, but with makeup, whatever. That's okay. So if I see this image, it's like, but what's the origin of this image? Like, who uploaded it? Like, I have no idea. Like, how can I know this? I mean, I can go back to this GQ article and see who's the photographer. Sometimes they say who, but that's the thing about an NFT. You see, like, this is the story of that NFT, so I can see who minted it. Like, it's just like, this is the person who minted it, and it's so fast. You know, I already got the information that I needed, and that's the point where blockchain is going to help us to differentiate. By the way, my current stance about all of this is like, there is only one thing that matters, and it's Bitcoin, and the rest is bullshit. And NFTs will be just useful to track ownership of things. And NFTs will be, in my opinion, some of them will be expensive, but it's a hype that has no reason to be, because it's kind of like getting excited about the fact that you can upload an image to the internet. It's like, whatever. But being able to follow this back to a particular creator, that's absolutely super valuable. Like there is this guy. Let me see 1 second. Let me see one moment. Like art. Like I want to see like a famous NFT, or I don't think that Banksy has ever done any NFT works. Has he? No, I guess that this is some bullshit. Yeah, this is some bullshit. But anyways, I mean, for example, let's say that I want to sue this guy because he's stealing Banksy's work, you know, and I see that this thing was minted by this person, and it was sent 2 years ago. You see, like, and that's really valuable. I can tell you the date and the time and the moment when this image was created, and then there will not be a copy of it. It's like you just follow that thing. So that's really useful. Imagine all Refusion renders can be also made an NFT, and then I can see, this is a Refusion render. And then I don't have questions if that's a human or a machine who made it. That's where I think is going to be useful. But anyways, let's go back to this.
Yeah, if we see this like the new type of the how it's called in English,
storage, upload,
when you're documenting something.
Yeah, that's all. For me, that's all that NFTs are.
Yeah, it's beautiful technology. For sure.
It's a public, because you can also see this, like you are here in OpenSea. OpenSea is sort of, wait, somebody's calling me, and it can be Anya. Just a moment, just to be sure that it's not her. Or also a delivery, sorry for that. No, it's Artyom Selivanov. Okay. I wanted to say that like this thing, let me see this person, Denisk, who was the receiver of this NFT. Like, I mean, this was, it was minted by this person, Denisk. Like, that information is not in OpenSea. Like, if I go to a website called Etherscan, which is scanning the wait, I guess Etherscan. if I go to Etherscan, which is a website that is analyzing the blockchain of Ethereum, and I put this address there, like, you see, like now I can see all the activity of this address, like, and you see that particular NFT that he minted. Again, this information is not in the blockchain in OpenSea at all. It's just a public information that everybody has access. This thing was minted, and it was sold by 0.40 ETH, WETH. Let me just see this 1 second and go here and search that value. You see, this person has a lot of transactions, like 985, and this is really crazy. I can see what's his current balance. But I don't know. Well, I know who he is because his account is connected to OpenSea, but it could be anonymous too. But then you see what I mean. Like, I can immediately know if this is a spam or what is this. Like, is this a person who is making this for what reason, like, etc. So this public ledger of information is super valuable to confirm ownership or creation, whatever. That's another story. Anyways, let's go back to this. So. Alright guys, we're discussing what are we looking for when we are comping something, especially for vocal comping. So the first thing that he's looking for is something that reinforces what the artist is trying to say. So, I'm so heartbroken, and then you did this like little brokenness in your vocals, and it's like, oh shit, like that's the best take, because you're kind of like supporting the being heartbroken with an emotion, and that's more important than anything else. And that's why we ended up talking about AI, because at the moment there is no AI generator of emotion yet. A vocal can just lay there in a linear matter. You just, of course, needs to be connected with the lyrics. If you can look at your lyrics and listen to your vocals and support the story, then that's the most important take that you have there. I'd always look for vocal performance that had a feel over pitch. Like, and I agree with this 100%. Like, you can correct pitch. Even if it's difficult to correct, I still go for it because it has the best vibe. So now, on the side of the arrangement, you know, like, what should we think about when we're thinking about the arrangement? Not before we go, this should be thought about a little bit earlier, but Mike Sr. is putting this before the chapter of like starting fully mixing, because he just doesn't want you to forget that this is really important. So arrangement is all in the mix. This is exactly what he said. If the arrangement works, then I'll give it into the hands to the mixing engineer. If it fights the music, then there is not much that we can do to make a great mix from that. There is a guy called Umberto Gatica who said, like, when you understand the arrangement of your song, mixing is really easy. Another person, Andy Jones, say the way I really learn about music theory, this is really interesting, and I agree with this. It happened to me exactly the same, is through mixing. Because if the bass part is wrong harmonically, then can you really mix the bottom end? Like, as we show in the 2 lectures ago, like, in the end, these are all Fourier transformations and interference patterns. So if the notes in the low end are kind of like dissonant with each other, it's going to produce a waveform that is not consonant, so it's going to sound like shit, or it's going to sound uncomfortable. So the way I learn about music theory is through mixing. So you learn how to make the bass player play the right part, so you can actually mix it. And that's really something that I work in a lot. It's like, sometimes I actually put it here. It's one of my comments. Like, sometimes I use, well, let's wait until that comment appears so I don't get ahead of myself. You need to think about who is the king of each octave. We discussed this last year when we were in the mixing course. And then think like, man, this keyboard that you're playing, it's in the same register as the bass. And so please, let's just have at least one take of that keyboard 1 octave higher, and then we will see later. And that we will see later is a famous last words to confuse the musician and then to do whatever you want. You know, I always do this, and then I put my option, and then the musician tells me, no, why did you do this? And it's like, oh, sorry, yeah, I was just trying to improvise or whatever. And so a common problem is like less accomplished arrangements, shitty arrangements. It happens that 2 sounds clash in some way, and because they're operating in the same register. So you want, this is a Steve Power quote, like, you want all the sounds working together so you don't get nasty surprises at the mixing stage. A quote by Steve Power is like, if 2 things sound crap together, you probably shouldn't be trying to fix that in the mix. If they just sound crap, just don't put them together in the first place, because you probably won't rescue them. And dude, this is so true. Like, I mean, everybody has this impression that everything is mixable, you know. and that everything, and that really the skills of the mixing engineer is going to determine how things are going to sound. And it's like, nope, it's just like a pyramid, you know, like you cannot. It's actually, the pyramid is a great metaphor, because I mean, you appear in the last quarter of the pyramid, and everything that was underneath is really what holds everything. And this is a cool new music theory commentary here, that it should be included when thinking about arrangement of something that you're going to mix. Chord inversions are a great way to get around when you have conflicts in your arrangements, you know, like you're playing something in this register, and then you can propose like, let's invert that chord and maybe move the root note like higher, but remain part of the chord, leave part of the chord in the same register, so we can have like something like sound how it was, but there is less conflict. So most parts of musical arrangements are only playing something interesting at some time. This is a really, and last night I was writing music for the film, and I was really thinking about this next section where we're going to enter, and trying to apply this to that composition that I was making. So most part of musical arrangements are only playing something interesting for some time, you know. So try to cut it so it's like, okay, you try to leave the most interesting things stand out only, and try to remove the bullshit. For example, in the book, I didn't mention this here in the presentations I made, but they talk about like acoustic guitars. One of the things I do about acoustic guitars, like I record them across the whole song, and then I know I'm gonna remove like 60% of it. But I just record it, so we have like the material and in case, and then I will be like, all right, let's make an acoustic guitar a thing of the chorus, you know. I think there is a great case. Have a listen one day to Parachutes. Parachutes is this Coldplay album, and listen to the first song, and notice how like the acoustic guitar appears only in the choruses. That's a really obviously classical thing, but I'm sure that maybe the initial arrangement had acoustic guitar everywhere, and then the recording engineer was like, let's do this. Well, maybe not, maybe the producer, but you will see when you hear it. So if you only leave the instruments when they are more interesting, you will open some gaps for texture for the other things. So this is an arrangement trick that can transform your sound production. This is my commentary here. Pitch shifters are amazing to make your arrangements kind of like be more logical, because sometimes, let's say that you have conflicting elements in one octave. And one of the things I always do is like just to put a pitch shifter in 50% mix and just generate like a edge of another octave higher, you know. I do it all the time with everything, and it's something that you don't hear it, but if you mute it, it will be a catastrophe, and this is really important. So I use them to, you see I wrote it here, like to give an edge in another octave to the instrument, so you can distinguish them.
It's the same as harmonizers, yeah?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I mean, harmonizers. Like, so there's this guy called Hugh Patman. He says, like, I often take a lot of efforts to have less rather than more. And this is something that you hear all your life, like less is more, and it's kind of like a cliche. But look at this argument that he says, like, I actually spend more time removing stuff, that's what it means, pruning stuff, removing stuff, than adding stuff. And this requires the musician to evolve and the part to evolve as well. And so whenever I used to have 2 tracks, I only end up having 1 track. Of course, for every song is different, but I'm looking for ways to simplify and reduce. The other day, I had a really interesting conversation with Anya. I mean, she's always coming here to my little studio to listen to what I'm doing for the film, and we discuss it. And she's told me something which was like, I told her, like, this what you're hearing now, it's 30% of what it's gonna be. I told her this. And then what I said next was like, I will remove like the majority of the elements that you're listening to now. And so she said, oh well, but that means that what you're showing to me is not 30%, it's like 130%, and then you're gonna remove like a whole bunch of stuff, and then it's gonna become again 30%. I was like, no, in the art of removing, I mean, there is an art on removing. Like, I will make the song more when I remove stuff from it. And that means that the song, even though it has more elements right now, is in 30%, and when I remove all the elements, it would be in 100%. And I gave her this metaphor of, like, you know, when somebody makes a painting, they draw a lot of lines that they later will delete, you know. Those lines were just to orient themselves and stuff. So I think that that's really important, and there is this idea here And many newcomer productions lack detail in them to sustain interest, so there is too much sometimes repetition occurring. And a little room of thumb is like, if you want something to retain the listener attention, then avoid playing the same thing more than 2 or 3 times in a row. Obviously, I mean, you cannot repeat so much. And so these were the Mike Senior conversations that I wanted to cover today. What we're gonna see next when we come back to next year is like, how does Mike Senior see his balance? There is a chapter that we're gonna analyze carefully, which is called compressing for a reason. Then there is beyond compression, equalizing for a reason, beyond EQ, frequency selective dynamics, the power of sidechains, and fluent balance. So what comes next is really like nitty gritty, powerful thinking about what it's mixing and how to mix. What preceded here was like all of these things, that little details that helped me a lot in my career to move on. You know, like I said in the first lecture, in order for me to build this moment where I am, I had to deliver these like super boring skills that I think that spending 9 lectures thinking about that, it's something that makes me sleep more calm, because we did it, you know, we did it and we had to do it. Now, the very last thing I want to do today is to show you whatever, regardless on which DAW you are, if you're going to be on Pro Tools or whatever, I want to show you kind of like my final steps of comping, like just like the very final ones, when we are gonna go and mix. So we have everything prepared, ready, so how I think the tracks should be delivered. This is the recording I was doing yesterday, so I'm not gonna comp this one. I'm gonna go back to the one that we have together and just finish it. Wait, so that would be the best way to finish our documentation of all of this. Wait, let me call to that person. I think it was Artyom Selivanov, but maybe it's at Dostavka. I'm just calling to check. So, music. Blin, it was at Dostavka Ozon. And I didn't, and it's a really important one. Well, anyways, they are answering. So, meanwhile, I'm gonna open something here. It's in Venus, DTH, active, нет. What? Алло, здравствуйте, это доставка? Да, вы с меня звонили? А? Через? Час? Хорошо, идеально. Спасибо. Да, на место. Это чем рано, чем лучше. Мне нужно уходить около часа. Это будет идеально, если будет до часа. Супер. Спасибо большое. Спасибо большое. До свидания. Супер. Отлично. Окей. No, not real. What's up? Not backup. Yeah, it's in backup. Trouble juice. And so let me just do the very last stage of this. Mix prep 3. I guess that it was this one. Silent echo, contrabass, don't save. Oh well, sorry. I just really want to show you this. I guess you cannot hear it. I just really want to show you this sound like we achieved yesterday. It was so great, man, about the contrabass. Wait.
Let me open the YouTube.
Yeah, it was really nice. Wait, set up playback engine. IO. Boss. Yeah, go to YouTube. I'll send you the link, or it's like in the.
I'm already in the.
Yeah, because it's on the playlist. It's great.
Yeah.
I just want to show you this sound we achieved yesterday because it sounds amazing. I need to go here, boss. Default. Yeah, and output default. Show less save setup. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, wait, this thing, it's like it was done in major and there is a different setup here. There is a different setup here and wait. All the paths are not assigned, boring, IO, output.
The off-top question, why do you record in the major right now? It's like client's will, or it's just easier for you to...
For many reasons. One of the reasons is for what you said. for comfort. And the second reason is because of the EQs and the compressors, man.
Okay.
Like, I mean, I like this thing you're gonna hear yesterday was just a second. Let me just that's it. I think that should be it. Audition path output. I only have one output now. This thing we recorded yesterday, I mean, it's running through all the compressors, everything, so it's already mixed, kind of like this counter bass.
You mean the analog stuff, all the analog stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's all great. So what happened here? Wait, IO. Let me just go here and then map this A12 to output. Stereo path not assigned. Y. Audition paths, output meter path. Wait, it should be output. It should be already there. Strange that. Wait, import settings. Let me import that from. And this is IO settings. It's so annoying. Can I choose here? Wait. Yeah. Can I choose output? Sorry, just a moment. I'm here.
No problem.
I'm here a little bit. Like, I mean, this was like a different setup in major, and new path. Let me just grab this thing and no. I guess that let me just try to import settings here. 11 rack, no control stereo. C24. Can I do this from a session? Yeah, that's it. Maybe it's just like the hardware. Yeah, that's why. I see. The playback engine is not my sound card. That's why what was happening there. Yeah, close the session. Yeah, we recorded the counter bassist last night.
Stay all night.
Yeah, now you can hear. I guess if you're gonna go to YouTube,
Let's talk to each other.
I'll meet myself here.
Hold my head, hold my heart.
The problem was sampling frequency
Yeah?
in the stream.
Yeah, I see. I need to just go like this. Now better? Hey?
No, it's the same. I can hear you, but
I see.
very robotic.
And now? Bad?
No.
Let me just try something here. Wait a second. And now? Bad?
Yeah, now it's good.
Now it's good. Okay, so final stages here. Got all my guitars here edited. And then, of course, all I want to do, just quickly, before I go to mix, is that I want to make sure that everything is kind of like compiled, so I can finally close this thing and go and mix it. So we need all these fades gone, so Alt-Shift-3, and then it's ready for bass. I mean, I'm doing rendering bass here, and so I got my bass tracks ready. And actually, I'm gonna go back, because I don't have here all the elements. I'm gonna go back to another session that I need to go. Don't save. So, because I didn't do it right, so I'm gonna go to the mix session. This is really bad that it's like that. It shouldn't be like that. I should have done what I'm about to do. I should have done it initially, for sure. And that would be the end of all our editing conversations. So, load. No. So let's go to here. And these are my mix. You see, like all this chopping down and all of this crap, like none of these things should be here. So I should have done this before in a better way. So mix MMS, let me put here MMS mixing 05. So basically I should get rid of all of this. I should get rid of alternative takes. Well, maybe not. I leave them there just in case sometimes. Like for sure, alternative case I leave them. And then I have all this bunch of stuff here. Let's see what the hell is that. This was reamp. This was a bass that was reamped, apparently. And so let me get rid of these bass tracks here. Everything looking good. And so what I definitely need to do is just to make sure I hit end here, my end marker, and go to beginning. Like maybe not start of the song, but maybe better to do it from the beginning of the project. So because later maybe somebody's gonna ask it for me. And Alt-Shift-3 it. So we render all the drum tracks. I'm gonna do bass, guitars, vocals, and have a session that is beautiful and perfect for mixing. Like that's really all of the work that you should guys do before making the mixing comp and the mixing preparation session and everything. So let's let this render and take it back to where it should be. And for sure, man, like when you have like these drums like all chopped and you're trying to mix, it's really difficult. You cannot see the waveforms, so when you zoom out, you see like a black block, and you don't understand the dynamics of things by looking at them. You need to hear them. And so for sure, like the whole comping of the project and locking it, it's something that is a super important step, psychological step. So everything should look like this. Then I go down from here. I go down, and up. Yeah, I go down, and then I go to the bass. These are the drums, and then I go to the bass. Command-Shift-3. Oh no, Alt-Shift-3 again. Come on. So render the bass. Go down. Render the guitars. So everything is from 0 start point. I can put this in any Pro Tools session and run it. And of course, the ideal thing that I think it's actually even, I mean, I think I'm doing it in a way that it could be improved. And let me show you what I mean by that. I'm going to make everything active, and I'm going to tell you what's really the ideal way to go here. You will see. It's really important, and if we can do work like this, is just the ideal thing. I have auto align. So my goal right now is to render all the tracks so they are mixable by any person in the world. Because right now I'm acting like a mixing, like a recording engineer, and not a mixing engineer. I want to pass this on to another engineer. So the best way to go here is that I already have my vocals comped. We discussed how to make properly vocal comping in another moment. I already have my bass comped, everything. I edited everything. We discussed all of this, and the real good way to go should be like this. Pro Tools has this function here called show only audio tracks. So I'm gonna first show inactive tracks. There is a reason why I'm gonna do that. I want to get rid of all inactive tracks so I don't get confused with anything later. So I'm gonna get rid of all inactive tracks, and then I'm gonna go here and show only audio tracks, not auxiliaries. I don't want to see any auxiliaries. I want to see only all the audio tracks. So these are all tracks that I really need. And now look, let's have a look at something. These are all mixing works that I did, but I have this tradition of my first plugin. It's always like an utility or something, like something that I use for utility. The way to follow here should be like this. Wait, sax, I'm not gonna touch it. Synth, I'm not gonna touch it. I'll explain you why in a minute. All of those things that have auto align, I should render that. So I should go here and commit up to this insert. And so what am I gonna commit? Selected tracks, volume and automation, and so now he's gonna render. Shit, there is something I didn't check that I need to check. Now he's gonna render. I'm just cancelled. 1 second. Commit up to this insert. Yeah. What about the source tracks? I want him to delete those tracks. And so I'm gonna do the edit selection, or let's do selected tracks better. Commit. Wait, edit selection on track. Edit selection on track. Yeah, and just run this process now. Yeah. No, I want to delete. Ah, good point. This is a new function of Pro Tools, bro. In the past, it was not like that. No, I want to keep them. Good. So now he's going to render everything with auto align. So, and then imagine all the phase correction I did. If I send this to another person in the world, Chuk is going to have that phase corrected version of everything. And the same is going to apply for all the guitars, all the bass, everything. That's one point. The second point, auto align is super heavy plugin, so it's going to be way much more lighter. And now I'm going to have all my editing compiled. Ah, well, he did it only for one track, but I think it will take a long time to do them all. So actually, let me try. I think it would take a long time, but let me try. It would be amazing to see it. Because you see what he does. When you compile like that, he leaves you the next plugin available. So commit up to this insert. Let me just go here and say selected tracks. Yeah, and the other tracks delete. Wow, this is a great function, bro. It was not there before. So it allowed me to render and keep the alternative takes, which is huge stuff.
Yeah, and actually it's great that you can commit to the one plugin that you want, because every time in Ableton when I do this, I'm deleting all the plugins,
no. You can
copying them, and then after the committing, I just pass them.
Like put them back, right? Like or you move them to another track. No. This is amazing of Pro Tools, of course. Fuck, I don't have any space available. But I mean, what I did to this track needs to be applied to every track. So,
understand.
So in the end, I get everything just like uniform and really cool. And then I can mix with that. And this thing of like, I mean, I'm very lazy and I'm very disorganized. And it's terrible that it's like that. But I really want to be in a position when I do two things that I'm not doing nowadays. Like these are the two things that I want to improve in my process of comping and getting mixing preparation and everything. There are two things I want to get better at. Blending. Like I'm really starting to get tired of having like all these guitar tracks. It's like DI, U87, SM57. Like I want to start being more aggressive at blending things. And if I could do that in the recording day, I would be more happy even. Just like to have the balls to say, I'm going to combine all these mics and that's it. That's my sound. And I'm going to put it in a mono track, whatever, like all of them. But I need to do phase correction in the studio before I do that, right? But my goal is that my projects end up having a lot less tracks. Like we remember when we were watching Michael Brower's opinion about this, it was like, if you send me more than 44 tracks, I will not mix it. So, I mean, ideally, I would just like blend everything, render it phase corrected. And you see, like these SSL channel strips that I put here, in my next iteration of thinking, you know, I think I'm going to put all those SSL channels second. So I render always all the way to those SSL channels, because these SSL channel strips are the SSL channel strips that I do on the day of the recording. You remember what I told you that sure. You can, so I mean, in an ideal world, I will render the auto align and the SSL channel strip. And then it's like I have something that is like how it was recorded theoretically. So to repeat this, to give it like the proper punch that this deserves, I think that one should do. Wait, Anya is calling me. Just a moment. Hi, Amor. Yeah, I can. Just give me a second. I'm finishing this lecture. I'll be there in a couple of minutes. Давай. Давай, пока. So, where I was going is, like, I really urge you to do this when you start working again. Like, put an SSL. Remember about this process of that you will commit when you finish. So, if you could build your workflow around this is like the whole message of this lecture, kind of. Like, if you could build your workflow around this fact that you're going to commit when you end, that would be a dream come true. Like, and I don't have this workflow because I'm stupid. I need to fix this, you know. So I need to be in the mentality that whatever happens in the world, I'm going to render those SSL channel strips for many reasons, saving processing, and so I can send this mix, audio multi-track anywhere, and it all works. So phase alignment and an SSL channel strips that I did on the recording, I'm gonna actually from now on, from today, put them top of my plugin choices, so I can render on the way to there, and whatever follows there, that's gonna be mixing, and that's it. So, okay, that's kind of it for today. I know it's kind of like a closing lecture of all these editing things, so I really have a dream to push a lot during the canicula so I can arrive next year in a better shape. This was really hard on me this year. I'm super exhausted. So I hope that there was some glimmer of interestingness in this course of production so far. I don't know how it feels. I know that we gave like a step back in where we were going, but I think it's kind of, imagine if I would have started the mixing course that we did last year with this, everybody would have just disconnected immediately. Yeah, but now it's kind of like, okay, you guys already know how to mix. Now let's do the boring stuff, and I can sleep now because I thought that this course could not end. This course, I mean the whole bachelor's, could not end if we don't see this. So anyways, I hope there was something cool about it. For now, I need to run.